Hello and welcome to Treasury Insiders, the podcast series brought to you by Treasury Today and BNP Paribas. This episode focuses on the evolution of e-commerce amidst the backdrop of the global pandemic, as BNP Paribas offer their insights in this space. In this episode, I'm joined by Neil Pein, Head of Payments Transformation and Global Head of Acquiring at BNP Paribas. If you could just first of all talk to me about the evolution of purchasing over the last few months and how your clients have been digitizing their businesses to match the customer journey and to build relationships at distance.
Our online sales that increased significantly during the lockdown, and it's very easy to explain because we've seen drive deliveries, all those new experience and all customer habits being changed significantly. All the shops were closed and you couldn't move. So as a consequence, many consumers started to shop online, some of them for the first time, and to buy their food, to buy whatever clothes. We've seen a huge increase in sports articles at the very beginning of the lockdown. Everybody was buying stuff to do some sports at home. So some of our clients saw a huge increase of demand. And as a consequence, I think some of the consumer habits have changed, and I guess some consumers will still go and shop online again. So what have we done on our side? Well, to support our merchants and the clients who had their store closed, we set up a straightforward solution which we call Accept a Link to Pay that enables our merchants to cache all payment solutions. Classic CB in France, but Visa, MasterCard, whatever. And you could do that by email or by sending an SMS. And with this kind of solution, the consumers, they don't have to share their credit card detail online with the phone to anyone, which is not very secured. So with this link to pay offer, we provide a secure solution to pay remotely without any huge burden on the merchant side. And it was a big success on our side, and our merchants were very thankful with this kind of solution. So with this solution, our clients, they managed to stay close to their customers, and some of them created a brand new sales channel that was not very open before. For instance, I'm thinking of merchant. They had this click and collect idea for months, if not years. And it was always a project that would be nice to have, but was always delayed. And with the COVID crisis, it suddenly became the big priority. And the specific merchant, we onboarded like all their stores in France, and we are now onboarding some outside France as well, which is a big advantage of our solution. It has no border. We cover all Europe, and we can offer also 300 different payment methods. So it's very convenient to expand this type of solution across all the geography of the customers.
If we talk a little bit more broadly, I was wondering if there's anything further you could say around the impact that the crisis has had in general on e-commerce and on the digitalization of the retail experience.
First of all, generally speaking, if you think of transactions, we've seen a huge decrease in transactions globally during March and April, mainly in store. And what we've seen online is that it has almost not decreased, despite the fact that the activity was being locked down. So the fact is, it changes the habits, and the consumer habits were changed. And for 3 months, many consumers, they discovered convenience of the online payment purchase with click and collect, as we've seen, with the drive for the big, large retailers in France. And this is true across generations. And this what makes me think that this is going to last. It's because it's not only the very mobile native user that were using these new channels. It's like all type of people, because it was the only remaining way to buy stuff. So as I said, the crisis, it triggered for some of our merchants the sudden need to have all this new channel, because it was the only one that was viable and authorized, I would say, at the time. This is a first step to me. This the click and collect and the way now merchants think of the online sales channel is the first step toward the omni-channel and what we call the unified commerce experience. It is not only now you need to have an online sales channel, but you need more than this. You need to cover the user experience of the purchase whenever it comes from. And you need to follow your customer, whether he starts online, then go to a store to get his stuff or to give it back. All those new channels, it's a must-have for all the merchants because it is one way to keep on increasing your sales, and which is in the end the service we are trying to provide to our merchants is helping them increase their sales. So we have built what we call Accepta Unified Commerce, which is our solution that enables merchants to pilot their sales channels. So it allows you to analyze, how many people, how many clients are coming from the online, and what do they do then? Do they do to the store, or if somebody buys something on store, does he want to give it back, from home and buy the new color or whatever online? And our solution, Unified Commerce, allows our merchant to really optimize the customer experience and maximize their sales.
Excellent. And I was speaking actually yesterday about the impact on the restaurant industry for the future of kind of brick and mortar restaurants, what that will look like. You've mentioned there the stores. What will this mean, do you think, for the future of a brick and mortar stores?
I am very, very confident that they will remain in our landscape because it is still the real experience. And even if your online or digital experience is increasing a lot, the restaurant, I guess you have experience what we call in France Skype apéro or WhatsApp apéro or WhatsApp dinner or whatever, so that during the lockdown you could still have some drinks with your friend but across screens. And well, I have experienced this. Many people have experienced this. And what we've seen is as soon as the lockdown were a little bit, stopped, many people went out and to see their friends and having a real drinks, in real life. So to me, it's really one way of seeing that digital experience is increasing. We can do a lot of things, but in the end, people will still go to a store to have the real physical experience. And for instance, if you think of retailers that they still want to see products, try them, compare them. So maybe the experience that you will have in store will be different, meaning you might not buy it as you used to. However, you will still be very happy to enter a shop to see the products and compare them. To give you some figures, 80% of the French, they wish to try the products on shops. And in Europe, 90% of consumers, they do the transaction in a store. So the habit is very profound and still is. And 55 people, consumers, they still consider that the easiest way and the fastest way is to go to a store to buy. It was 10 years ago, but still the shops, they have still a long way to go. Having said that, the experience you have on store, it needs to adapt to the digital channel that was not there before. So merchants will have to rethink the experience in the store to reassure consumers, coming from their shopping or groceries, and there will be new way to process a transaction, such as all the contactless transaction and even what we have also the scanning type of purchasing experience. Speaking of the contactless in the shop, this is one way of seeing that the experience is renewed. We increased the contactless from 30 euros to 50 euros. So now you can use your contactless card to pay contactless until 50 euros. And we've seen that it moved a lot of the customer habits. As soon as we've done it, it was the 11th of May. I would say that in a few days or few weeks, all merchants and all individuals, they knew they could do it, and they used it a lot because it was a response to the the distance requirement. And this is one way for BNP to accompany their merchants and their clients. The digitalization, it also means a reduction in spaces where the consumers could find sample products, and once you pay them, then it will be delivered to your door. So you don't need to have in the shop 50 samples of your sneakers, so that you don't want to be out of product when the new customers come in. And when you do that, it allows you to rethink your shop and probably maybe show more details, show more different products because you don't have to store 15 times the same size. And then the experience is better and it could be also cheaper for the retailers. So definitely the brick and mortar remains and will be there for a long time. It will be probably the only channel offering the emotional experience for the customers. So today we're talking about virtual reality or augmented reality, but it's still very young technologies and it's still going to take some time before it can match up with the real life experience.
Excellent. And then if we think a little bit more small scale, so for local shops who might struggle to have the reach of the larger retailers, how can they maintain their relevance and be part of this, as you call it, digitalization journey?
I believe they will always be part of our lives. And in many sectors, such as neighborhood food, they are very happy. They welcome clients. They build a long-term relationship with clients. And I am among the people who are very happy to go to my local bakery store. So there's still, a place for them in a new era of purchase. Having said that, I think the lockdown has been a big, tremendous shock for them. So they need to reinvent a little bit themselves and probably provide additional services. So as we've done for them, even for local and small stores, our Accental Leak to Pay solution, we provided even small shops with this type of click and collect solution, even for some with our online module. But one point which is very interesting to me is that we started to see what I call local marketplaces. And this is kind of new. So far, when you think of marketplace, you think of a very large company reaching merchants from worldwide, merchants coming from Asia, from the US, from wherever in Europe, and being accessible to a very large marketplace. And now with this crisis, we've seen some local marketplace that were gathering, the local merchant in from a street. And I think this kind of new way to address customers is very good for local shop and is a real new way to create client relationship and provide new services. So I think it's Angers in France who've done it. And so it's a local marketplace gathering shops from, I would say, the very center of the city. And when you go to this marketplace, you can do in one basket your local shopping and pay in only one basket. And then you can decide either you're going to go and just pick up in the store or can be delivered. And when you do that, you still have the client relationship with the local stores. And I think it's a very good way for small shops or retailers to reinvent themselves.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And then if we broaden out to think a little bit more about the bigger picture, what does the environment for you look like post-pandemic?
The crisis that we went through shone a light on new purchasing habits and the definitive strategic role of the e-commerce and I would say the m-commerce, even more the m-commerce because people were at home and they weren't spending hours on their desktop. I think they spent much more time on their mobile. So it also put into light the role of the stores to provide real enjoyable experience. And so it's both the e-commerce and also the importance of the store that were reinforced by the crisis. And it's not really a paradox because it's, I think it just encourages us to take the measure of what we already knew, that the retail future will happen through both channels and through the successful implementation of new digital solution into the customer experience and into the shops, into the stores. And what we have also discovered with this crisis is that there is no size to address this topic. It's true for small shops and it's true for very large ones.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been talking about the payment space, and that's certainly been an area of enormous innovation. But what do you think about the ongoing future of innovation? When people sit down together a century from where we are now, what innovation or invention do you believe will have had the most impact on their lives?
I think one innovation which I think can tremendously change everything is the quantum computers, because I think it will force us to rethink, all our security, all our, the usage of what we do with current, computer science. So I think it could be a very tremendous change in our lives, and it could probably allow the real development of artificial intelligence and much more use cases that we can think of now. But I would bet on this one.
That was Neil Pein. Thank you to Neil for his time and insights. It was great to hear his take on the development of e-commerce, the effect of lockdowns on this space, and the digitization of the retail industry. To hear more of our Treasury Insiders episodes and to discover all our other audio content, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from.